All right. It's Recorder Book Club, episode 36.
Hi, everyone.
Hello. We are in it to win it.
In it to win it.
Yes, we are. Just excited about. Oh, we are. Oh, cool. And in the chat, someone's using the story command, which is great. We set that up. I'm glad to know that it's being used. We have some.
Yes.
We have two authors we haven't discussed before, which is
No,
cool.
although one of them is well known to both of
Well
us.
known. Well known. But
And we also now have access to the New Yorker, at
yes.
least for a year.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, Shiny found a good deal. I used to get a good deal through my school, and then they didn't have it anymore. So,
Yeah. Yeah, it's essentially a pound a week, which is not bad for the New Yorker. But if I keep it past a year, it's going to be double.
hmm and that's only digital access, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm, I see.
But I know how I am, and I would get found under a pile of New Yorkers if I got the physical copy.
Don't come to my house. You'll see a pile of
Because
New Yorkers.
I used to be like that about National Geographic. I could build
Oh no, those are heavy.
forts out of National
Those are
Geographic.
heavy
Yeah,
little
I know. I know,
magazines.
but they only come monthly. Imagine a weekly magazine. You
Oh,
just never would see me again. There'd just be a pile of New Yorkers in
that's
my
that,
living room and I would
that's what
be under it.
happens. That's what happened to me.
Is it?
Yeah, oh
Is
yeah.
that why you canceled your New Yorker?
Yeah, I was like, what am I? It's like kindling. Like what am
Yeah,
I?
who can read that much?
I know that's a lot. It's a lot, but we tend to pick authors who have, and recently or in the past, because the New Yorker is the institution and the
Mm-hmm.
magazine in the magazine world. They a lot of literature ties because they do feature short stories. They still do.
Mm-hmm.
So having something in the New Yorker, you'll find like even like Flannery O'Connor has
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the major authors of the Western canon and abroad have short stories in the New Yorker. So, and it's like they're set like visually, syntax wise, like they're set up nice. Like they have
Yeah, the website
the website's
is
beautiful.
nicely
So,
laid out.
and then we always get walled whenever like it gives you a little. That's the worst part. You're like, oh,
Mm.
the New Yorker has this, and then it's like subscribe. I'm like, oh, it lets you see it for a little bit.
Yeah, and then like your window's closing.
Yeah. Oh.
The thing that really annoys me is according to when I was searching, they're like, "Oh yeah, you can have 3 stories a month for free," but it isn't allowing me that. So
Oh.
maybe they changed it.
People start getting slick.
Like that's always well, but that's always like a really good thing. I think the New York Times does it as well, where you can have like a certain number of stories free per month, but that like kind of hooks you into wanting to
Mmm.
get the sub because you've like seen 3 things that you like and then you want more.
Yeah,
But
I got
no
you.
such luck.
That's marketing.
Yep.
Yeah, shiny.
Right. Shall we?
Shiny has some pull. The DJ recovery rates. Maybe they changed it for shiny specifically. Yes,
Yeah.
they.
They're like, you need to pay us.
Uh,
You get nothing for free.
so on
So, shall we learn about E.B. White?
yes.
So I never knew this. I've been knowing who E.B. White is since I was a little kid, but I did not know that his name is Elwyn Brooks White.
Mm.
He was born in 1899 in Mount Vernon, New York. His father was the president of a piano firm. I guess they made pianos. I'm assuming that's what a piano firm does.
Mm.
His grandfather on his mother's side was painter William Hart. He was part of the Hudson River School of like landscape artists. And his older brother I think his name was Sean, invented the vertical garden. So like when they have buildings with like plants growing up the side of them in like a wall,
Yeah.
that was E.B. White's brother invented that.
I'm gonna get out of here.
His it was his older brother because he was the youngest of six children. His older brother also taught him how to read. So
Mm.
that was nice of him.
Mm.
White attended Cornell University, and he was a member of two honor societies, one of which had the really cool name of Quill and Dagger. And he was also a Phi Gamma Delta fraternity member. After university, he worked for the United Press International and the American Legion. And then he was in Seattle and he wrote for two newspapers. He wrote first for one Seattle newspaper. They fired him and then he went to work for the other one.
Mm.
Um, he also then, after that, went to Alaska to work on a fireboat for a year. And then he came back and worked as an ad and copywriter for a year or two and then returned to New York City.
Yeah.
Um, in 1925, The New Yorker was founded, and White started submitting immediately. And he got a couple of things published, and then they made him a staff writer.
Wow.
Mainly because there was a woman called Catherine Engel, I think was her name. She was the fiction editor, and she kind of pushed White's stuff. It wasn't even fiction he was writing essays at the time, but she pushed his stuff onto the right editor's desk and said, "You should look at this." And there'll be more about her later. So he once he became a staff writer, that was him for like nearly 6 decades. He was writing for the New Yorker off and on. Um, he also is known for revising the Elements of Style,
Oh, I was just looking
which
at
was a
that.
book.
Ooh,
Yeah, it was a book written by one of his professors at Cornell, and
William
it's kind of
Struck.
like the
Strunk.
quintessential.
Yeah. Just to go off what you just said. So being like in English and in academia, this is like the standard for writing. A lot of the rules. I mean, I feel like it's like even though it's like a little pocket size book, but I feel like a lot of the principles are super relevant and make a lot of sense. Um,
Mm.
such things as use the active voice, omit needless words. E.B. White was known to this cut, like always, like trim the fat out of his sentences. That's why I feel like he's a very effective writer. But that,
Hmm.
like having that, those kinds of those rules, or are like the core of this book, and it's become like even like I've been in like certain English classes and they're like, okay, use this as a reference, like that they put it in their syllabi.
Mm.
So it's like and there's a lot of grammarian books and things like that, but this is the one that stood the test of time, and it's very small. I think they revised it a few times, but
Yeah.
most it still has it's I think it's written in a way that it follows its own philosophy.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah.
I believe E.B. White still has like the standout revision, and I think he revised it a few times, not just the once.
That's what I was saying.
So,
But I think it's for the most part it stayed the same. I remember the thing I learned about from that book is people use the word kind of, like I kind of feel sad today, or I think I kind
mhm.
of like that, and it's like it tells you not to use kind of. It's like the proper way to be like, okay, the penny or the panini is a kind of sandwich. It's like a kind of like I guess
Oh, right. Like
like
when you're
you
talking about a
yeah,
variety of
a
something.
variety thing. This is a kind of fruit that you would find somewhere. So use and
Hmm.
I like that has stuck with me. So I use I end up it's kind of like once I read that I it's kind of lodged in my brain. But that's from that book.
That's
So it's just
very
cool.
cool.
It's just a little. It's a. I think especially for a writer, a writing guide, it's a very versatile, convenient little book that you put in your pocket
Mm.
or in
Put
your
it in your pocket.
pocket, or your purse. Fits easily in
Your
a
purse.
handbag,
Yeah.
and I think I should read it
Um.
again. But anyways, I don't mean to be that.
No, that's fine. I
Yeah,
knew as soon as I found out about that you would pick up on it.
I'm looking at it right
Um,
now. It's in my bookcase.
so he was mostly known for his essays until the late 30s when he started writing children's fiction. His first book was Stuart Little, and initially it didn't really get a good reception. But then later, after Charlotte's Web was written, both of those books went on to receive high acclaim. Um, White was shy around women,
Mm.
but he had an affair with a married woman, Catherine Engel from The New Yorker.
What?
And it led to the dissolution of her marriage. She got a divorce and ended up marrying White. And they were together until she died. Um,
Mm. Is that the
and had a
woman in
kid
the
together.
story?
That's yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only person he's married to as far as I know. So yeah,
An
it's the woman in the essay.
essay. Yes.
Um yeah, so yeah, she had a son from a previous marriage. And like I said, they had a kid together. And yeah, she died in 77 and then he died in 85. He suffered from Alzheimer's. He didn't say what he died of, but I'm assuming complications down to Alzheimer's. So
Mm. Such a sad thing
um
that he had Alzheimer's because
I know I
what
hate
a
when
what a
really intelligent brain type people
yeah
succumb to
because
that.
he's such a had such an influence on the English language. And through his
Yeah.
books, Charlotte's Web,
Yeah.
Stuart Little.
Charlotte's Web was the first chapter book I read.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
Um I used to read it on the way to school because my mom and I had like a 45-minute drive to my school when I was
Mm.
in when first learned how to read.
Yeah.
Um so yeah, I would read to her every morning. And it's so weird because I do not like spiders, but I loved Charlotte's Web.
Yeah. Well, this goes beyond spiders. I think that's one of
Mm.
those compassionate books that stays with you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Um. But yeah. So we E.B. White has the reason this is our first essay that we're doing for the book club, and I usually if I like to write or sometimes I buy their essays, and some people like they hear the word essay and they're like, ugh, they it's like has a negative connotation to it, like oh it's like school, but it's no, this is I feel like
Ask Itchy what my response was when
yeah
he
he
said
was
we're
like
going to read
oh
an essay.
no he goes are we gonna be able to handle that? I was like yeah, but like I don't know, like there's a preconceived notion that essays are like these dense things that are only viewed through an academic lens, but I feel I've read most of his essays because there's a book. He has an anthology put up by Harper, um, and it's really like it's kind of like a blog. Oh, I just said kind of wrong.
Uh,
It's a
you
kind of
just said
blog.
kind of
I
wrong.
know. I went on this whole you know.
It's, do you know, actually, I think it just reads like a story.
It does, and it's and I I feel that if it's almost an extension of maybe if he had like a column in the New Yorker again.
Hmm.
I know I'm not sure if he did, I'm not sure what he did in the New Yorker. I don't know if he was doing short stories or if he was doing
He's done
reviews.
it all.
Yeah, so I
He's
mean I'm
done it all.
sure it does read like a yesteryear kind of
Well,
um
and this was published in the New Yorker.
yeah.
I happened to share a copy that was not from the New Yorker because I did not know I was getting a subscription to the New Yorker yet when I found
Yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah. But
But
it
yeah, it is in the New Yorker.
I think his essays are very approachable
Hmm.
and rather interesting because especially this one. And that's why I picked it. It had I'll have we're gonna kind of go through it all, but that's as but it leads up because there is like some anticipation because it is about a hurricane um, that happened in 1954, I
Mm-hmm.
believe. So
Yes, September 1954.
yes, yes, yes. So we again these this sometimes makes people associate essays with school. This is just I feel this is a nice meditation on his feelings about the weather and um, lots of
It's
other
very
things.
narrative.
It's very narrative. Well, what you would expect from the guy who wrote Charlotte's Web and Stuart Little.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's set the setting here for us, Shiny.
So the essay is called "The Eye of Edna,"
Hmm.
and it is about Hurricane Edna.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we have E.B. White living in a house with his wife on the Maine coast.
Yeah.
Um, they're not in a town really. They're kind of just on the coast in between places. Um, they're east of Penobscot Bay, which I have no idea where that is, but we could all look it up if we feel like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
They live in a house with three radios,
Mm.
one of which is plugged in, and I think two of them are battery operated.
Yeah.
But they have no television set in
Yeah.
1954, and this calls them out as
He says
weird.
eccentrics, possibly
Yeah,
radicals for not having a television.
yeah.
I like that. That was like one
Because
of my favorite
the
lines.
50s would have been having a television in the 50s would have been the
Yeah.
thing,
The thing to
it
have.
was the new technology. You were somebody if you had it. So, yeah, the fact that they've chosen not to have it. And they live on a bit of a farm. They've got a barn, they've got animals.
Yeah.
Um, but the news has warned them that Hurricane Edna is coming. And
Yeah.
they'd kind of just recovered a bit from Hurricane Carol, which would have been the previous one that they had a run-in with.
Yeah. So they understand
Um,
the magnitude of these things and
yeah.
um, also, just to add to as some context, E.B. White lived in the city for a long time. Obviously, he was writing the New Yorker, and he didn't like the hustle and bustle so much. He wanted to have maybe spend the latter years of his life in a more rural area. So he picked Maine. So
Hmm.
this is like a response. So maybe I'm thinking maybe the lack of television is him just getting away from being connected. It's like almost the
Yeah.
equivalent of him shutting like not buying a smartphone or something like that. He's just shutting off.
Yeah.
He just wants to live in the country with his wife, and they have a farm, and they just want to kind of cut off themselves.
Although his
Purpose.
wife does listen to Giants games, so she's
Yeah.
not totally cut off
No,
from the
no, no.
world.
I think he is more so. But
He's more so, yeah.
yeah. But yeah, this
So,
other hurricane, it went off. Like you said, they've kind of had some experience.
mhm.
Um, that it has had done some damage.
Yeah, but nothing too
Yeah.
radical. They didn't have, like to rebuild anything. It's just,
Mm.
it caused some apple windfalls and stuff like that. I think a tree maybe had a broken branch or something, but it wasn't real bad.
Yeah.
Um, but the thing about it is that the current hype around Edna is making it so that he doesn't want to take a chance. He
Yeah.
wants to be sure to handle it. And he talks a little bit about how hurricanes are named after girls and
Yeah.
how there's probably a baby girl named Edna that was born within a few days of this
Yeah.
storm. And there's a line that says, "She's probably a nice little thing, but I took an instant dislike to her, and I would assume that thousands of other radio listeners did too."
Yeah, yeah. If you unpack that, it makes sense. Like, oh, I was named after like an event that somebody
Hmm.
maybe at the worst maybe lost their life, or
Yeah.
like their house got flooded or something like that. So like, oh, you're Edna. Oh, I remember Edna. That horrible.
Mm-hmm.
catastrophe that made me lose my life's, my inheritance, or I had a house that was handed down to me and I lost it all. And yeah, so I think like if you're gonna name your kid after a hurricane, be prepared to maybe get some backlash. But
Yeah.
I don't know at this point, unless it's like pretty peculiar name. I don't. I personally don't remember hurricane names too often. I mean,
No, usually when you remember them, it's because they were really bad.
like Hurricane Andrew, something along those
Mm-hmm.
lines. I remember in Connecticut it was like Gloria was a big one, and Katrina. Oh, it's like
Katrina.
don't name your kid Katrina because people are
There's
gonna
like 3 women at my work named Katrina, and I
yeah
don't like any of them.
yeah you're gonna think like, oh
To be
god.
fair, they're all kind of awful, but
Yeah, but like if you like it's not. I mean, I maybe somebody said Katrina, like someone named their kid after a hurricane. But I think that it was maybe setting him up for getting some ridicule. Like, oh, here comes
yeah,
Katrina blowing through here, making a mess. Like I can see it being a bad thing if you name it after a hurricane. That's what he's pretty much saying.
yeah, yeah.
And he's
Essentially,
right too because he talks about like this like sensationalism. The radio is is definitely something where it's people are listening. It's people are listening to the radio and
yeah,
kind of glued to the radio when these things happen, especially back
yeah.
then. But I feel like thinking about that when we lose power, and I'm sure Shiny, you don't lose power too often over there in Scotland.
No, most of our power is underground.
Yeah, but like when we lose power here, it's cool how like when the house is dark and nothing's working and you don't have all the modern luxuries, we go back to the radio.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
We got a battery radio somewhere in this house. Let's turn it on, and you're hearing like what schools are closed, or like it's almost like we go back to like a former like like I know that people used to gather around listen to like AM radio together. But
hmm
it's cool how it's just cool how like when something happens like that we all go back to the radio in some form or another.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and something to note at this time is we didn't have 24-hour news cycles then.
Yeah. Yeah.
People in this time got their news at like 6 and 10 p.m. And then
Yep.
there was
Yep.
maybe like midday news, maybe morning
And then the
news. But
the TV shut off.
yeah, the TV shut off at like 11 or something.
Yeah.
But so E.B. White comments that nature is to him, nature was continuously absorbing. It's 24/7 for him because he is surrounded by nature.
Yeah.
Um, but quietly, it's not a big hubbub. It's the, geese need fed,
Mhm.
the bird bath needs filled with water. All of these things that he does around his home, that's nature to
The
him.
job is never done when you live in a farm like that. Like it's always something to do.
Yeah. But for the radio, nature only becomes interesting when it becomes malevolent.
Mm. And that is true.
And the radio like was giving nature the full treatment now because of Edna.
Yeah. Like anything was a point of interest. The rain.
Yeah.
How much did it rain? Like these are things that you would maybe talking like in passing. Did it rain today? I
hmm
don't know if it rained today. Or you look out your window, but now it's like you're focused in on whatever nature is doing. It's almost like nature is like um hiding in the recesses of the it's like it's hiding behind a mountain, and you're trying to like
Well,
you're
and
waiting for it to come out. And
and the radio, of course, is
it's ominous.
it's ominous. It's doing, you could say it's warning people, but it's also instilling fear in people.
Yeah.
You know,
And intrigue.
it's yeah, but it's, this storm might prove fatal. They're warning people that this might
Yeah.
happen. It hasn't happened yet, but they're still talking about it because it's a possibility.
Yeah. Which makes people, I think this essay is pointing out, that makes them glued to their radio, glued to the news. It once incorporate these things like fear and all that, you tend to stay, even if it doesn't amount to anything. You still sit around and look for it, which is really relevant to even now, more so,
Yeah.
and different. Not just the weather. But yeah, so like there, he talks about hearing about it for the first time,
Yeah.
and he's starting to prepare his house. Right? What is he
Well,
doing?
there's one thing to note before he starts preparing his house. When he's talking about how the news is handling Edna and how there might be victims of it. He says one of the victims of Hurricane Edna was a civil defense worker whose heart failed him long before the wind threatened him in the least. He's implying that the news coverage has
Mm,
terrified this man into heart failure.
yeah, yeah, I believe that.
Um, so yeah, he heard about it 36 hours before it arrived. He heard about Edna,
Mm,
and he decided to prepare his house and wait.
yeah,
That's what they do. Um, so it wasn't difficult. It really only took him a couple of hours. He brought his boat in so that it wasn't out in the water.
yeah,
He shut up the boathouse. He made sure the sheep were in the barn and drove nails with wood to nail the doors shut on one side so that,
yeah.
they wouldn't blow off in the wind. Um, he even brought the geese in, even though during Carol they didn't seem to mind the
Yeah.
weather. He brought them in, and this is where he talks about the apples that Carol blew off the trees. He's now feeding them to the geese.
Yeah, so it's like the effects
Um,
of one storm is like aiding another one.
yeah,
Aiding
exactly,
the preparation of
exactly.
another one. He also does stuff
So
inside the house too, right, Shiny? They talk about he's kind of putting water next to the toilets.
yeah, he's
Kerosene lights
preparing
are
for
out. Yeah,
in case the power and the water goes. He's got things taken care of there.
yeah.
He even brings in his croquet set. um because he didn't think that, he thought it was very, very slim chance that a croquet ball would fly through his window, but it did give him a few moments of imagination,
Mm,
painting this vivid picture of what it would look like if that happened. So, they have some pullets, which are birds, chickens, and the roof of their house had blown off during Carol. So they weren't fans of
mm.
hurricanes
So
anymore, these chickens.
maybe there's an assumption too that maybe they weren't as prepared last time. They
Yeah,
underestimated
I
it.
would,
Yeah,
or they could have been, but they just decided not to be. They didn't have the fear, so they
yeah.
were like, "Oh, it's gonna be fine."
So do you feel like they're
So,
overly prepared or just like
well, I
reasonably
think
prepared for this?
it's hard to say. Now when we get hurricane warnings, they have a pretty good idea of the strength of them.
Yeah.
He doesn't really talk about that, so I don't know how much information they had about it.
Mm,
Um, but I think he's definitely taking the rather safe than sorry approach
yeah.
this time. And like you said, he shut up the chickens early. They didn't need to be out, so might as well keep them in so that there's no problem. Um, and yeah, he went to bed that night convinced that everything was ready.
I think just from his, I think he's like prepping pretty well.
Mm.
I'll tell you, there's two kinds of people in Florida when there's a hurricane. The people who party and there's people who prepare. I party. I'm just like, you know what?
I knew that. I
I,
knew that without you saying it.
I'm just like, I'm gonna be drunk, and I don't care what hits this thing. We're good. I'm gonna do. I'll make sure that we're not gonna blow away, but I'm not gonna be awake for it. So, but like that, yeah. I think of it like, yeah, I gotta get the barbecue. We're gonna make a thing out of this because it's usually like it's more of like the waiting around afterwards. It's not it kind of
Mm.
tends to blow over you pretty fast. But I only said that because I feel like EB White is in the camp of preparation. I don't. He does. It does mention later in an essay that he gets a little drink for him and his wife, and they sit in
Yeah.
the basement or
But
whatever.
I think maybe he's into preparation this time.
Yeah,
Like maybe
yeah,
he
yeah,
wasn't last time.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, they could have easily. Maybe he alluding to that he lost some animals because the roof did go off. You get for that,
Yeah.
so something could have happened, and that's bad. That if an animal,
Yeah.
I would feel horrible if one of my cats got
Yeah, if an
loose.
animal in your care had something happen to it, that would be
Yeah, and it
awful.
was my fault.
So the next morning, everything is in place. The power's on, telephone's working. The wind is only moderate. It's gray skies and there's rain, but it's not, you know, the weather's not bad. But his wife is already curled up around her radio in bed at
Yeah,
10 to 7, ready to hear about disaster
she's.
striking.
I get the impression that but she does watch the Giants games. Like I feel like
Well, listens
she's
to
more
them.
listens to. I feel like she's hooked.
She's
Like if the
missing the city, do you think? Like,
yeah, I think so. And also, if this was modern day times, I think she would be the one. Like he would be like like doing something, maybe doing a crossword, and she would be on her phone.
yeah,
She would be like glued to her phone, trying to figure out like,
yeah. Or he'd
uh,
like be out for a walk and she'd be like, I gotta find out what happened on Love Island.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's to put it in a modern context. So maybe I want to say different. I think that he writes his essay in a way like he shows like two different schools of thought about like
Hmm.
preparation. She's I feel like hooked onto this sensationalism of the weather and the incoming. And
She's
I think
enjoying
it.
the she's enjoying the drama, I think.
Yeah, there is.
And
It is a natural drama. You're anticipating
hmm
something. It's almost like what they say, like when every good story is like they say the premise is always a stranger comes to us. A stranger comes to
hmm
town. Who is a stranger? What is it? It's like you could say that a hurricane, in essence,
is the
personifies
stranger
is
in
a
this story.
stranger, and coming to a town and going to do, wreak some havoc. But yeah,
Well, he
but
goes to do his chores before
yeah,
breakfast, and again, and this just speaks to what a good writer E.B. White is. It says, "In the barn, I received an ovation from the geese, and my failure to release them caused an immense amount of gossip."
yes. Oh my
I just love
God.
that,
It's just I
the
feel like
visual of that.
I'm in Charlotte's Web again. The geese are
Exactly.
having a
It's
conversation. I think
yeah, the
geese were
geese are
here.
not happy with him.
Yeah, they're gossiping.
Yeah. So, he goes back inside, they have breakfast, and then they settle down. Everyone in the house, apart from their dog, settles down to listen to the radio. But they're all off in their own, his wife has her radio, he has his radio.
Mm.
Um, they're all listening on their own.
Which is this to make some comments here and there analysis. You would think such a communal event would be like shared in that way, but I feel like
Hmm.
they're receiving this information independently. Like she has her own radio, he has his.
Hmm.
You would
Hmm.
think like something affecting. I always think like a weather event really it doesn't like social class and money doesn't really matter. Well, it does sometimes, but um everyone's affected somehow. So I feel like it has like this ability to make things like society even for a time because
Hmm.
everyone's awaiting this weather event that doesn't matter if you have the fortress, it could still be affected. So like
Yeah.
it's weird like for a thing like and there are some moments during a hurricane people you see humanity at its finest. Sometimes
Hmm.
you see people help each other, or if there's an animal that's lost, or like you see the things in the news where like
Oh
a town
yeah,
gets
like if
flattened and
there's
like
flooding
and then
and
people
somebody
help.
saves an animal or
So like
something. Yeah.
someone has a boat and they're using the boat to help their neighbor find something. They may have not even talked to their neighbor at all, but they're because of the weather event, this horrible thing
Hmm.
happened. They're willing to like help each other out. So it does. That's what I think is so crazy. Like it for such a communal event, that you have this radio. It's like almost you have your own station, or like your signals to yourself, and it's like, they're separated for a time.
Yeah. But he says no matter where you wander through the house, you can hear a radio talking about the storm.
Okay, so it's always around them. Yeah.
Yeah. If this storm, I like this, is moving at the speed of a medium-priced automobile. Um,
Yeah.
they start to get reports of deaths in New Jersey, and a state of emergency has been declared in New London, Connecticut, and in Portland, Maine.
Mm.
So something's starting to happen.
Yeah.
Um, they shifts of workers are being sent, or having things happen or being sent home. Um, there's reports of the weather in different places. Some of it sounds not bad, some of it sounds like
Yeah.
it's not great.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but they'd opened up very early on Edna. They said it was 36 hours in advance that he heard about it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it kind of feels like they're starting to wane because they've already like been on it for some time.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's such a this for him to observe this, make this observation. It's like this. This is like the earliest, like almost the prototype for like the Weather Channel or something like that. Like this is just
Hmm.
regular news, so, like just covering the weather. Um, and like I see it now when a hurricane comes and they're like, oh, let's go back to the field, and people are like, yep, that's the same. Bad. Like how much? How many? How much? How many? How would you describe slanted rain? 30 different times in one day,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
making it like interesting. So I do see that it's great. It's cool that he notices that, like, okay, these people are reaching for something different here. They can't keep describing that. They're having a hard time describing the same stuff, or they're trying
Yeah,
to make
it
it
says
interesting.
they're having a hard time keeping Edna going at the velocity demanded for emergency broadcasting. So
Yeah. Well,
Edna's not moving fast enough for
but
them,
that's like, I
and
feel at the core of the news. That's what it is. People trying to make something out of nothing,
mhm.
trying to make a news
Uh,
cycle out of like nothing.
he gives us this chat that happens between an interviewer and a guy who was sent in a car to look over conditions, and he's like, "How would you say the roads were?" And the person replies, "They were wet." It's like
Yeah.
they, there's no interesting information here. It's just very
Yeah.
like, this is what it's like outside. Yes, I can look out my window and see that's what it's like outside, but there's no, you know, they're trying to like
Yeah. Make
make some build up here, and
this.
there's
Yeah.
just nothing at the moment. Um, and
More. I said that's a favorite phrase during weather, like a hurricane here. It's more of the same, Sam. It's more of the same.
it's more of the same.
Yeah. It's back to you. More of the same. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Did we really need that? It's like, is it really? Are we really getting information here, or we're just getting this like echo chamber of the same shit? But yeah, it's almost like we're. This is like the inner workings of the news right here.
Well, and then we get the introduction of Weatherby, the New England prophet, who is the WBZ weatherman. And he kind of says, "Do you know what? It's moving north northeast at 50 miles an hour. Probably New England as a whole is not going to get the brunt of
Yeah.
uh this hurricane." Um and he found, so we find out that there's another person in the house. I guess she's their housekeeper, Mrs. Freethy.
Mm.
Um and she asks if he'd heard from Edna,
So,
because
she's being facetious.
well, she's just doing her thing, Mrs. Freethy takes her hurricanes where she finds them, and so far she hasn't found this one.
And I like that. That's a good
Um,
attitude. If I don't see it above me, then it ain't here yet. I'm not
It's
gonna
not here yet.
I'm not
Yeah.
gonna sit there and just like this cover like how cower over my radio
Yeah.
and hope for it.
And they're doing that thing. I don't know how it is in Florida because I guess you won't get snow warnings, but in Tennessee we still got snow warnings occasionally, although
Mm.
most of the time it was just a heavy frost. But anytime they predicted freezing overnight, um all the bread, all the bottled water, and
Oh
all
my
the milk
god.
suddenly gone from the stores. So I'm guessing it's probably similar in Florida when there's a hurricane.
Toilet
All the
paper.
bread. Oh, and toilet paper. Yeah,
How
toilet
many?
paper became a new thing because of COVID for some reason.
Man, I was like, how many asses
Yeah.
do you have?
Yeah. Also, if you're stuck at home all the time, you could take a shower after every time that you poop.
True.
You got
True.
it right there next to your bath, like
Well,
next to your toilet. Anyway, that's beside the point.
wow.
Um, yeah, they're being given advice like fill your car with gas before, just in case the pumps lose power.
Yeah, all the and then
Get an
people
old fashioned clock so
people
that you
freak
can
out over
tell
this. I
time
hate this. Is the
still.
I think that brings
Yeah,
up. I think the worst humanity comes out when these, especially in Florida. They're like
yeah.
people are fighting at the gas pumps, and they're trying to put like they're getting gas for it. They're using up the gas. Like I gotta get like 3 containers full of gas in case I need to run my 8th lawnmower.
Eighth lawnmower. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like come on, people. Are you really? You probably
Well,
got gas left over
e-
from the last hurricane.
probably. E.B. White says that he weighs the bits of advice very carefully.
As you
His
should.
car was already fueled. Not a single clock in their house has been powered by electricity. And he didn't really feel like messing with the refrigerator, which was one of the other, like to adjust your refrigerator to a lower temperature so that if the power goes out, it's colder for longer. He didn't do
Mm.
that.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Because he said, yeah, well, because it's insulated, right? So
Oh, I
whatever
see.
temperature you set it to, it will maintain that temperature for as long as possible.
I see.
So if the power goes out and it's really cold, it will stay a good temperature for the food for longer. It's still going to warm up eventually, but
Yeah.
um yeah, so he says the hard to handle items of food left over from previous meals and saved against a rainy day, he's like, have the knob is buried behind all of those, so he's like it's not worth it. So he decides not to do that.
Yeah.
Um but he's been switching different radio stations, to get different views. Um and he gets the Camden town manager talking about, what they've done to prepare. Um and things are closing. They've set up a hall in the town where people can get food if they need it, but also bring your own food if you have it. That's how they're feeding people. It's kind of communal. um they're saying that in Bangor the news was that the Gene Autry show would continue as planned, so
Yeah. Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
not changing things. um Boston fire commissioner says to stay calm.
Yeah.
All these like news
Yeah. All
stories are
these
coming
things.
in
It's like
from
a
all these
lot.
different
It's like well,
places.
it's just I pretty much like without having to say all of them. I think that people are adjusting. Like at the events are
Yeah.
changing, and it's all I feel like all from the news. It's like the news has
Mm.
been people are listening. So if you have some event, like you're starting to see, it's like if there's paranoia about the storm, I think things are like like seeing things that are closing or seeing the effects, the ripple effects of how it affects commerce and everything else, it would make you more paranoid.
Yeah.
Like, I remember like like I saw if Walmart's closing, oh my god, we're getting direct hit
Mm.
because that place
Yeah.
stays open for anything. So it's like
Yeah.
I feel like at that if someone maybe has some weather anxiety, seeing the other like the seeing like the other places respond other than yourself
Hmm.
can be triggering, right? I know that sometimes Shiny, you get sometimes or have anxiety about events and things like that. Like, I would you feel that is legitimate? Like seeing maybe watching things close down or like a business putting up boards. Would that make you
Yeah, I mean,
nervous?
yeah, it probably would. Although it's hard. Yeah, it probably would. The thing is my anxiety about these things is so great that I just chose never to live in a place that has to deal with them.
Well, that's good. That's good. Well, sometimes
Like
you can't avoid it.
I never wanted to live in Florida because of hurricanes. I never wanted to live in California because of earthquakes. Like I was
Yeah.
very, I pick where I live based on. We had tornadoes in Tennessee, but not many. So
Mm.
I don't know. I'm always looking for the
I rather
least
deal
amount
with
of weather
I rather deal
nonsense.
with a blizzard over a hurricane any day.
Oh, me too. We
Oh,
did have blizzards in Tennessee occasionally. That
it's
was
like
crazy.
yeah, but I was like the worst at the. I mean, it's still horrible, but your pipes could burst. But I don't,
Yeah.
and the power can go out. But usually, it's like I feel like it's like a nice break. I think that the wherever you live, there's like a permanent siesta. Um, that happens. DJ 90 said we survived the quakes. Yeah, that was my. On a side note, I'm watching DJ 90 in a stream one time, and he had an earthquake during the stream.
While he was
Throughout he was
streaming.
streaming, yeah,
Wow.
that was a so it does happen. People in it affects things, but
Yeah.
like like people are resilient. I just find like
Hmm.
if I had a choice between weather events, I would rather do a blizzard because blizzard's like okay, we sit around and you drink hot chocolate,
Yeah.
and if you're a little kid, that means that you can just go out and play, go sledding or ice
Oh, I loved
skating.
snow days in Chicago.
Yeah,
Absolutely adored them.
but like the hurricanes here, I feel like the you have a lot of like price gouging and
Mm.
I think it brings out like the nefarious
Well,
elements.
there's also a lot more damage that can be done by a
Yeah,
hurricane. Like you
yeah.
said, you can have damage with blizzards. You know, if things freeze, it does cause problems,
Mhm.
but it's less volatile, I
Yeah,
feel.
yeah.
Um oh, 90, I was born before Mount St. Helens blew up. So I did live near a volcano and I have ash from the eruption actually.
Mm.
Because 90 says not to live near active volcanoes, but I did for a time.
Wow. But yeah,
Um,
yeah, I think it's more of the people like over here in Florida, it's more of the people. It's humanity
yeah,
that's doing things like
taking advantage.
like I during Hurricane Andrew people were selling like uh generators that were broken just to get the money.
Mm,
They were ripping off FEMA. There was like lots of things that they were.
it's awful.
Yeah, it was just a thing. But like so whether it does is I think there's parts of whether that the effects of it. But I mean this I feel like this is a little bit more um like this is not like that bad. I mean, it just shows like this paranoia. Great, things are closing
No,
down.
no,
I don't think
yeah.
he hasn't the
Well,
extent of it
and
is over here.
and the thing is what he's hearing on the radio, he's not seeing evidence of that
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
outside. He says it's almost surreal because he's like going outside and
Yeah.
or it's unreal because he goes outside and there's it's just kind of a normal gray day.
But there's a lot of
It's
group. I
not.
think groupthink it's a is like a notion that gets that you could see it plays into effect.
Hmm.
Because you see your neighbor putting up like putting away their patio furniture. You just like, and then someone in your house goes, "Oh, look at the neighbors are doing that. You should do that too." And you do that
Yeah.
because your neighbors are doing that, and then your other neighbor sees you like putting up maybe taking your potted plants, and then you have to do it too. It's like you feel like okay, someone more prepared than I am. Am I like missing something? I feel like you're at that moment like you're paying attention to what other people are doing in preparation. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. No, I think that is
and
the
that
case. Like
and he's
everybody.
and in that paragraph is like a ripple effect. He's seeing it kind of play out with
Hmm.
events and even the I think at that one point they mentioned that the Red Sox, or not the Red Sox, or it's a baseball game gets
Yeah, baseball game is being canceled.
canceled. But again, people are taking precautions
Yeah.
as you should.
Um yeah, yeah.
I don't always.
Um yeah, and he goes outside like I said, and he doesn't really see much out of the norm. It's just like a little drizzly. The pond only has like drops of rain hitting it. It doesn't have any wind blowing across it really. He goes out to the pull yard and is able to collect some eggs.
Yeah.
You know, he's just kind of looking over things. He does see that they have a tree that should it fall might do
Be
damage to the house.
yeah.
So he's like, okay, well, I'll just make sure we're not sitting in the front room if it gets too windy. Because
I
if the
like
tree,
I like his approach to things. I think he's looking like he's just I could see his intellect kind of seeping through here, like
mm-hmm.
his observation about society and what society is doing, and like what when to like. I think he's reasonable. His reactions are calculated. Like, okay, well, like somebody would be like, "Oh, this tree's gonna fall down. Let me go out there with a chainsaw and cut off the limbs that are gonna that are hazardous just in case something was gonna happen." He doesn't do that. He's like, "Well, I just
Yeah,
make sure it's not in the way
yeah,
if it
he's
falls."
prepared without over preparing, I feel.
Yeah, I think that's a fine line. Maybe
But
some.
he does say something funny about his wife because he says that he would evacuate people from that room in case the tree fell when it gets windy, but he says he was doubtful as to his chances of evacuating his wife from any room whatsoever, as she doesn't readily abandon well-loved posts, especially if they are furnished with traditional objects that she admires and approves of. So so yeah, and she'll argue and she can present an overwhelming array of evidence in support of her position. So not
Oh boy.
only is she stubborn, but she's very good at arguing her point. So he can't really push her to do something if she doesn't want to.
So I think
Um,
he's saying that his wife is like that one on the news that you're in a hurricane zone. I ain't leaving.
yeah,
I ain't
yeah, pretty
going.
much. Nothing's happening. I'm fine.
I
I'm
don't see
staying here.
nothing. I got my barbecue going. I ain't leaving. So it's like
Yep.
like I feel like his wife would be one of those. I got
Yeah,
everything I need
probably.
here, and like a lot of times, I feel like those on the news that they end up being okay. It's not you don't
Hmm.
hear. I feel like the only time the news would like comment if they did die. But
Yeah,
if
yeah.
they did, if they stay there and nothing happened, then it's almost like the news looks like bullshitters, like the weather. Like if they stayed and
Yeah.
then people and then like the governor was like, "You have to go." I remember seeing people
Yeah.
surfing.
They're like, no, I'm staying here.
They
And then
didn't like. They don't
yeah,
like
you
that.
only,
They don't like when you. It's like okay, if the news is trying to elevate the fear, they don't like when people are like decreasing it. Like some
yeah,
are hanging. They're like, they interviewed a surfer. They're like, "Isn't this real dangerous?" Like, no, it's great. It's like the best
best
waves
waves
was
ever.
ever. And like, okay, back to you. Like they don't want to even go. They don't want to
Hmm.
like it goes away from their narrative. If people are like smiling. Because they don't want this doesn't
Yeah,
represent it's not evidence that they're being affected by the news. So if like
yeah.
if the viewership sees someone
Well,
that's like not reacting, then maybe they're not going to take it seriously, and then
yeah.
they wouldn't. Yeah, bad for yeah. That's exactly what Scrapple
Yeah,
Jack says.
surfers
Servers are
are
bad
bad
for
for danger things.
danger ratings. Like, if there was a weather like it's like some different some local TV station, they would have I bet they had a meeting that morning. They're like, listen, nobody interview surfers. We can't have that. It's
Yeah,
bad for ratings.
yeah.
We don't want to see people smiling
Yeah,
out there.
well, they're thrill seekers though, so they don't really care. I mean, there are a number of surfers who have died trying to catch the big wave, so
Yeah, but I feel like that's few and far between. compared to the ones that are
True.
that's out there
True.
having a nice surf.
Um, to getting back to EB White though, like he's actually felt more at ease by being outside in the weather than being inside listening to the radio.
I don't blame him.
So he's taken a break from the hurricane by going outside to walk in it. And that
The irony.
is mind blowing to me.
Yeah, that's funny. I missed that
um
part.
Yeah. Yeah. He says, back indoors, the storm from which I had enjoyed momentary relief by taking a stroll in it was on again in full force. So he did.
There was a
He
there's
went
like
for
a
a walk and
like the hurricane's worse inside
inside. It
because of
does seem to be.
because of the sensationalism of the news. And he's
Hmm.
like if you go outside, like you kind of forget about all that. You're like, oh, you know what? It's surprisingly breezy today, and that's nice. It feels
Yeah.
good against my
Yeah.
skin.
Yeah.
It's like the sky is clear, or you know, if I think like maybe there's some meaning to that. The calm before the storm is beautiful.
Hmm.
It's really
Hmm.
nice. And usually everything, if there's a storm, everything's shut down. People are home. So it's like the general calm, even like in terms of people. You don't see
Yeah.
you don't see a lot of cars on the road. It's quiet.
Hmm.
So if you live in a big city, that could be something, you know, it's like a good thing to experience. But you know,
Yeah.
don't listen to the news. The news is going to make it seem like you're in the middle of like in the eye of hell.
Well, but the
Sometimes you
news
are.
is starting to fail.
Yeah.
The news is starting to fail because they've been at this for like a couple days now, and they're waning, all these newscasters.
Yeah.
We start to have little slip ups, like they say battered down instead of battened down, which
Well, they've
has
been up all
different
night.
meaning.
They've been up all night.
Yeah, they've been up all night. Or they say inundated instead of inundated. So EB White, being a man whose life is words, gets really caught up in these things. Um, this, instead of thinking about the hurricane, now he's thinking about these misspoken words
Yeah.
and how they're
They're
wrong, and
fatigued.
yeah.
You know what? Being a newscaster is the equivalent, and a storm is the equivalent of like your parents telling you to do something in a car ride because they want you off the phone or off technology. I just want you to look outside and look at the weather, look at the sky.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's what their bosses are telling them. Okay, Randy, I want you to go out there and look at the sky. Tell me if anything's happening. Just keep an eye on it. All right?
Mm-hmm.
We'll get back to you in 6 hours. It's
Yeah.
like it sounds like a punishment. Like, look at the sky. Like, what do you do? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like if you're in the field and during a hurricane, you're just a lot of waiting, and it's incredibly boring. And you don't know when they're
Yeah.
gonna like come back to you and like want to report. So you have to be ready for it. It's just I don't know, and you're uncomfortable. You're usually
Mm-hmm.
you're rained on, or you're cold, or you're in a like, and the worse it looks, the better it is for the ratings. So they're like, yes, can you guys get closer? Can you just get
Yeah.
the lightning? And you're like, I don't want to die. Like,
Yeah.
we need more
Well,
lightning in that shot. Can you get close?
I've seen, like, we used to, when I lived in the States, we saw footage of poor newscasters out on the beach in Florida while, the waves are crashing behind them.
Yeah.
They're like the rain sideways, they're standing in it, it's out of control.
Yeah, it's like how long, and you don't know how long these people have been out there for, and they're
No,
expected
that's
to
true.
like give some, like, not be fatigued mentally and physically. Like
Yeah.
we go out to our
Well,
cars, to get like, oh shit, I forgot something in my car. I forgot my wallet. I left something, and like I go out in the rain. I'm like, woof. I come back.
yeah.
I'm like, I'm pooped. And like these
Yeah,
people like
that's a
standing,
lot of work.
these people are like, I'm running. I run different. You run differently in the rain. I don't know. It's like
Mm.
it's a different kind of run. You don't care who's looking. It's just
Hmm.
you're dodging the puddles and everything else. You can't look cool running through the rain. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Um, but like,
Well,
but that's only for a little bit. Imagine having to be out there for 10
yeah,
hours.
be out there for 10 hours exactly. The the hurricane is actually starting to make its presence known near E.B. White. The
Mm-hmm.
winds are picking up, the barometer's falling, and it comes to a point, um, I think by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, he's starting to he's checked on the animals again, but he's like, it's still not really getting out of control. But he finds out that one of the places has stopped talking about Edna altogether.
Mm.
Um, and now they're back on baseball. So the baseball, actually, this is where they talk about the Red Sox Indians game being on, and it's actually on and fine. Um, and they're playing. And his wife, who hates the American League, is still listening because it's something else to listen to apart from, you know, nothing but Edna.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but you know, he's noticing that Edna is not the top story for some places now.
Yeah.
It's moved on.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, other things are taking precedent, and he's still waiting for Edna. You know, they still haven't had it come past them yet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so they there's a town that's kind of near them called Newton, and it's opening up its school buildings for people to go if they need um to get away to safety. Um, power's starting to power is starting to fail in places nearby him. You know, it's like it's getting closer. Some places are being evacuated.
Mm-hmm.
Edna is getting closer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and the barometer's still falling. That which is what he's checking to kind of get an idea of where they're at. Um, it's raining harder now, but you know, he's still sitting there kind of okay in his house, you know.
Yeah.
He's been prepared all day for this storm to come, and it still hasn't really arrived for him.
You think
Um,
there's a sense of like, I don't know, you're let down. You do all this stuff
Probably.
to prepare.
Yeah, probably. He's
I know.
like,
I feel
"Man,
that way.
I'm ready to go," and
I
it
got
didn't
my
show
whole
up yet.
patio in my living room, and now I
Yeah.
have to like I'm dodging chairs.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's like a lot of I've in Florida you put everything in the closest room, so like my living room is filled with everything that was on my pad. I have a potted plants in my little middle of my living room, and it's like, oh, I didn't even do anything.
Yeah. I did all that work for nothing.
Yeah. So maybe some of that is.
But
Yeah, as Scrapples like says, paid my ticket. I want to see the ride. Yeah, in a weird
yeah,
way, like you want to, like you're like,
exactly.
yeah, let's see if all this lead up. Let's see is I want to see Edna full force.
And yeah, they're I guess his Edna moved towards him across the evening, and you know, he's watching the trees and everything, you know, have the effect of it more, but he now no longer has radio support. They're all they're doing is playing music now. Nobody's talking about it anymore. Finally at 6:30, he takes his wife out of the front room without police action, he says, and gets them both a drink.
Mm.
Because you know that front room is where he's concerned the tree might fall. So you know
Yeah,
he's
I
pulled
was
her
like
out of that room finally.
I like a little passive aggressiveness towards
Yeah,
his wife
without police action.
without police intervention. Peel her
Yeah.
away from the room.
Yeah. So and then you know as Edna passes over them, they get to the eye of the storm. They can let their dog out. The
Mm-hmm.
dog doesn't like the hurricane though, comes right back in. Um, the geese didn't care, but you know, the dog is very against it. And then, you know, by 7:45, they're like the governor's like, we're good. It's done now, thanks.
Yeah. I like that
Um,
there was a rally, political rally, and like if it's like
mhm.
it's like the whole lead up to the storm may have like cost the person the election
Oh
because
yeah, because he got voted out
he got
like
voted out,
after
and maybe the
the
people that
hurricane.
were that would have supported him. We were like putting in their potted plants and busy in preparation, and they were unable to have
Yeah.
time to support. So this it's like the direct effects of a hurricane, or especially the hurricane that's being pushed by the
Yeah.
thing.
Well, and they're the thing is that everybody's been listening to this all day,
Yeah,
and it's been pushed on them. And so, I guess there probably are people who are looking for someone to blame through all of
yeah,
this, but
yeah. I mean, not. I mean, there is like I think there is a demographic of people that are just counting their blessings and saying, hey, it could have been
mhm.
worse. I'm
Yeah.
happy. Like we were prepared for the worst, but nothing happened. But I wouldn't want
But
nothing to happen.
the thing is that it still hasn't really hit them in a real way yet.
Yeah, yeah,
He's still able to go outside and he goes for a walk, but is surprised actually to see that a bridge is underwater.
yeah. So
And
you're
then
getting they got the rainy side. They got the
yeah, they get the rainy side, but then he realizes, oh, if the bridge is underwater, maybe a spring is underwater, and the spring is what supplies the house with water, so I better go check on that. And he realizes that he can't get to the spring
yeah.
because the forest is so flooded.
Now I feel like this is the
Um,
first time that like beyond the news that he's starting to see the effects. Finally,
oh, for sure.
like for someone who's very rational, this would be the moment where they
Hmm.
say, "Okay, well, this is legitimate." Like, okay, it's hitting my it's penetrating my orbit at this point.
Hmm.
Before it wasn't. I was just
Yeah,
hearing the news of other towns, and now I'm seeing evidence in my own region that
in your own region, yeah.
this is happening.
Um, they'd lost the phone at this point, so the phone is dead.
Mm.
Um,
Which is
by
also a
quarter
little
to
scary
nine,
too.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The fact that there's an actual change by quarter to nine, the power goes out.
Mm.
Um,
Dum dum
but
dum.
now they can actually see the weather very well because there's no lights in the house, so they're just looking out at the storm. And there's thunder. Um, and so they're just he says they're battened down and battered down watching the storm. Um,
Mhm.
they for a half hour or so, Edna held them in her full embrace.
Ooh,
Um,
that's a nice way. That's
the
a nice descriptive
trees,
way to put it.
yeah, the tree breaks. The one he was worried about breaks. It crashes down across the driveway, not the house, so that's good. The apple tree splits up the middle. That they're feeling full effects of this storm at
Mm.
this moment. But it didn't seem like a very long time because for hours they've been waiting for it, and then in 30 minutes it's done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and they'd also been promised at 11 a final wrap up of the storm. So, at least they got the storm before the final wrap up shows up. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but the kind of overview comes from one of the newscasters saying the Weather Bureau estimates that almost 46 million people along the East Coast have felt some degree of concern over the movement of the storm.
Which really says nothing.
Uh, Yeah, never before has a hurricane had that large of an audience. Yes, but it wouldn't have had that large of an audience if you guys didn't talk about it all day and make people scared?
Yeah. Yeah. Um. I like that at the end. It said, "There in the woods is a great trunk square across the path. Its roots in the air lay a big hammock, hackam. How you say that?
Mm. Hackmatack.
Hackmatack. Which is that like a hammock? No.
No, I think is it not a tree?
Hmm. But I never did get to hear the wrap up. Yeah. So it's almost
Yeah,
like
he
he's saying
never.
like he's like okay. I've gone through this thing. I'm just like now it's behind me. When I first read this essay,
Yeah, it's a
it made
tree.
okay. When I first read this essay, you're gonna be surprised what it made me think of. It made me think of car chases, and it made me think of particularly the O.J. Simpson car chase. Because prior to that, we weren't
Yeah.
really we car chases were something that maybe the news would occasionally pick up on, not normal. Maybe like it would be on Cops or some TV show that was like crime centric. But
Mm-hmm.
after the OJ chase, we got dedicated. They saw the appeal of like the mass population watching somebody being chased by the police. It's almost like, and I felt like you're just watching a car on the highway in L.A. and you're like, he's going under another overpass. He's getting off an exit. He's doing this. He's in the neighborhood.
It was also not a high speed chase.
It wasn't. So how do you like? I feel there's a lot of similarities in the way they make like they made normal things that would happen in weather. Like, for instance, the lake has risen 3 feet. Okay, it does that every day, but because it's a storm, it suddenly has like significance. So it's like the same as like a car chase. Oh, look at this! I think the wheel is being affected, or let's get another angle. It's like these are things that we see cars on the highway every day because of the chase. It becomes like newsworthy event, and then after that, we started getting channels that were dedicated to chases. I'm not sure what the channel's name is, but I just know that I was when I had
they exist.
They exist. I know when I had 1 million channels and some package for some cable package that they had channels that were just dedicated to seeing that kind of stuff. Even court has become a sensationalized event after, and then
There's
usually
court
TV. A lot of the stuff after the OJ trial. So. Yeah, Chris says Dankerman is a good parody to that. Yeah, exactly. I think there was some moments where Ron Burgundy was like trying to figure out some ways to make it interesting and laughing, and it's like points at the absurdity of news and why, like, okay, just because it garners ratings doesn't mean that's important. We're not going to sit there and watch a car going down the road by a fleet of police, LAPD, and
And the postscript to this essay says that was kind of the last time that happened for a hurricane. Because, at least in E.B. White's life, because then they just didn't make as big a deal out of it. They reported it.
Well, maybe he did.
They said it was coming. And no, but he's saying on the news.
Oh, really?
He said that was the last time that the news sensationalized at that point.
Oh,
but I'm saying the man died in 85, so he missed that it happened again.
He missed. It's in full force now. The news loves hurricanes and weather events, and the businesses love. It's as soon as there's a hurricane, they already know. I go to Publix or the grocery store around here, the chain. And they already put out pallets and pallets of bottled water because they know they're gonna make money. So it's like it's not only sensationalized like for ratings in the news. It's like it's a profit. The news the supermarkets are profiting off of what the news is saying because people overstocking. They start to buy supplies. They do all these things. People, if you have if you're in a company, there's a lot of companies that have storm shutters that are in Florida. Those companies are, they're excited that the storm's coming because they know they're going to drum up business. So it's like, you see how capitalism is plays a part in it. I think that's what E.B. White was maybe in reference to. Like why, like these are like this. If we, like I could have easily this noticed that a tree trunk was uprooted, and I could have just walked outside and maybe with minimal warning that I know like, hey, it's just getting windy. Let me just do some preparation, and all that stuff in between the interviews, the constant updates of anything to do with the sky changing color, like the water level in a lake is not. Do we really need that? I don't think we do. We don't.
Yeah.
Like, how much is that really helping us, and how much is that like? Are they having like? I'm sure as crazy as, and this may sound insensitive, but as crazy as and horrible Hurricane Andrew was and deadly, They're probably having a really good Christmas party that year because they made so much money
Yeah, for
in
sure.
ratings. They were like,
For
oh
sure.
yeah, we had a good year. We got all that
Yeah.
hurricane coverage, like, you know, well, all these hurricane coverage was profitable. So I don't know. How much are you really feeding into human nature?
Yeah.
I kind of, it ties it into Twitch sometimes. I know, like, sometimes these Taddy even mentioned, like, some of these streaks, like watching it stream. Are you playing
Mhm.
on people's uh insecurity about being left out or FOMO?
100%. 100%.
Like, so how much of it has to do with, like, the streak, and how much, like, is the news feeding on people's anxieties for profit? Like, it's not. I just think, like,
Absolutely it is.
yeah. So
There's
it's
not even a
like,
question about that.
so, like, it boils down to, is it ethical to make
Mm.
more out of the weather than it is? You're stirring up people's emotions. I mean, they even mentioned that the guy had a heart attack and it wasn't even affected by the storm yet. It was from the coverage.
Yeah.
So I think that E.B. White is a nice critique, a
Mhm.
relevant critique on the importance of the news, and how much, and, like, how, like, should we keep, like, how much should we invest ourselves in it?
Yeah.
So, and that's one of the reasons.
Well,
That's one of the reasons I love this essay so much, because I just think I see it. I see it. Kind of. It seems more than the weather to me. It seems like it could be a lot
yeah,
of
oh,
things.
it for sure it's using this event to comment on many other things.
Yeah. Yeah. How, like, I don't think it's justified all the time. I don't think it's just, especially in
Mm.
Florida, where you have a lot of older people that live alone.
Yeah.
You have a lot of older people that living nursing homes and things like that. It's almost like they have they have a TV on just because they don't want to be alone,
Mhm.
and then they're getting pumped with all this anxiety with the weather, and and so maybe a lot of them are on fixed incomes, and they're like, what am I gonna do?
Well, and it's not just the weather. The 24-hour news cycle means that any news
Yeah,
gets,
tell me about it.
repeated over and over, and they, give you, and bad news makes them more money than good news.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's what they focus on.
yeah, yeah. So this has
I remember a statistic about child abductions
mm,
that they hadn't actually gone up at very much since I was a kid, but they just report on them more.
oh,
So it's
yeah,
not that it's more dangerous to be a kid out there in the world. I mean, it is for other reasons, but like child abduction wise, it's not more dangerous that you're not more likely to be abducted as a child now than when I was a kid. We just hear about it when it happens, which we didn't when I was a kid
yeah,
because the news cycle wasn't 24 hours.
yeah, yeah. I just probably imagine the stuff in this. You hear about people. I know that you had one of your parents was hitchhiked among, like, a lot of people, and
Mhm.
in that time, hitchhiking was a normal occurrence. Like, it was like, oh, you just,
Mhm.
yeah, that was just hit. I flew into, or I drove here and I hitchhiked the rest of the way. It was not uncommon
Mhm.
to hear, but I'm sure, like, that's gone away. Instead of, the
Yeah,
news.
well, everybody's afraid they're going to
Yeah.
get murdered if they do that. Although I will say something bad did happen to my dad, so not a good example.
Yeah, yeah. I hate ring cams. I really do. I think it makes your profile.
Mm. Yeah, but then they have good uses. Like my neighbor who can't get up
Yeah,
very quickly to answer the door, she can decide if it's worth her time to get up and get to the
yeah.
door,
No,
or
I
if
see.
it's
I feel
just the
like this is a good
upstairs
thing.
neighbor being
Yeah,
fear mongering again.
yeah, yeah.
So
I see either one or the other. I see more of the other, though. Those people are like,
yeah.
I got a ring cam on my ring cam, just in case my ring cam goes out. Like, shut the fuck up. Okay, you're
You
not. What are you?
know,
What are you? Are you like some freaking vigilante? Like, are you expecting,
my
Like like
My
a band of ninjas to come to your
A
door
band
and
of ninjas.
it's
No,
like, come on, okay, you're not that
my
important.
friend is a nanny, and one of the nannies usually work for people with a lot of money, and one of the families that she works for has a camera on their door, and the only thing I know about that camera is that it catches her when she trips and falls, and she sends us videos to show us.
Oh, that's nice.
Because as she's walking up to the house, there's like a bit that she quite often trips over, and I was like, you need to pay more attention.
Well, at least he has some entertainment.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm quite aware that you have a cutoff, so shall we
Yes, yes, yes.
move on?
I was like enthusiastic. Yes, I'm sorry about that. But blew your ears off. Yes.
No, it's fine. Yes.
Um.
Um, our next author is Colson Whitehead.
Yes. Another yes. I'm
Another
sorry.
yes.
I'm very excited because these are two authors that I'm very familiar with.
Yeah. So, Colson Whitehead's name is Arch Colson Chip Whitehead, and at some point in his life, he's gone by each of those names. When he was a kid, it was Arch. Then he spent some time being Chip until he settled on Colson. But all three are his name.
Mm.
He was born in New York City in 1969. He grew up in Manhattan and spent a lot of his life there, to be fair. His parents were successful and ran an executive recruiting firm.
Mm.
He went to Harvard University. He wrote for the Village Voice when he got out of university. And while doing that, he started writing his first novel. So far, he has written 11 book length works, 9 novels, and 2 nonfiction,
Hmm.
including a meditation on life in Manhattan in the style of E.B. White's famous essay, Here is New York.
Oh, that's the
So
connection.
there's your connection.
I was waiting for that.
Yeah. um, John Updike called Whitehead ambitious, scintillating, and stinkingly original.
Mm.
His seventh novel, The Nickel Boys, which our story today is tied to, was inspired by the Dozier School for Boys in Florida, which is a real place,
Yep.
where children that were convicted of minor crimes were sent, and they suffered violent abuse there because it was yeah, not good. The people who were looking after them were not taking care of them.
And they were opportunists
Um,
too, as well. I'll go into that
yes,
later on.
yes.
Um.
Um, The Nickel Boys won a Pulitzer for fiction in 2020, and it was his second Pulitzer Prize for fiction, actually.
Yeah.
Whitehead's eighth, ninth, and soon to be published 10th novel are the Harlem trilogy, which is a
Mm.
family saga slash crime trilogy. And he still lives in Manhattan with his wife. They have 2 children, and they also have a house upstate.
Very, very similar to E.B. White
Mm-hmm.
in
Mm-hmm.
ways. Not Maine, but upstate, in the city, in the
Yeah.
suburbs, or in the country.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a weekend home.
I
I think
see.
it
I
might
see.
be on the coast. I'm not sure.
And he wrote the Underground Railroad, which is a take on a magical realism story about if the actual railroad was real, which
Was a
I
railroad.
was a real railroad, and I was like, it was so convincing that I thought that it was like, wow, this is a great. I never knew about this, and someone told me, it's like, they're like,
Oh,
Itchy,
like
that's
no.
that's that's the magical realism part. There wasn't any railroad underground. I was like, oh, all right, back to myself. Like it's like yeah, but it was so like I love his writing style. For those who've read it here, or even had we did provide an audio version of this for those who
Read by the author
read by the
himself.
author. Yeah, so that's cool. We concluded that in the post that we did on
Hmm.
Discord early in the week. So for those who maybe no, I know sometimes it's hard to. Like I said, it's not mandatory to read. But for those who find it hard to sit down and read, you can put it in your car. Or you're going to work, or as you're doing stuff around the house, doing making art or what have you. So let's go into the story. This
The
Florida-based
story is
story.
called, yeah, The Match.
The match.
It's about boxing.
Yeah.
Um,
You're
Right. So
yeah.
we find ourselves at a school
Mm-hmm.
for boys who have gotten into trouble.
Yeah.
Um, and we meet Griff, who the boys are rooting for,
Yeah.
but he's a bully.
Yeah.
He's kicked the butt of quite a few boys in this school. Um, it said he smelled like a horse and made fun of their mothers, which was pretty low given the general motherlessness of the student population. Um,
Yeah.
he's not a nice kid.
Disruptor. Yeah.
Yeah, but all of these black boys are rooting for him because he's going to represent, they're fairly certain, the black boys at the Nichols school.
Yeah. Because it's
Because
segregated in ways.
it's segregated. And the white boys are going to have a tournament on their side, and the black boys are going to have a tournament on their side. And then the two best boxers are going to face off against each other.
Yeah.
So these boys want Griff to win because he's representing them, but they also don't mind if he gets the crap beat out of him first.
Yeah. But
Um,
he's not a nice person.
no.
But for a time being, like he's like their hope.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like
Um,
I feel like the whites, even though the white school is for disciplinary actions, I think the black school is worse, or he gets treated
well, we
differently.
find out that it is.
Yeah.
We find out that it is.
Yeah.
So they do. It's meant to be a reform school. It's meant to help these kids, kind of turn them around, but
Yep.
it's not really coming out that way.
No. No.
But these boys know, these kids local to this area know what happens if they mess up. They end up at nickel.
Yeah.
Um, they've the the black boys have won for the last 15 years
Yeah.
since 1949. Um, the last white champion, which is just such a funny phrase to me, was a kid called Terry Doc Burns. Um, he's a he had huge hands.
Yeah.
He got in trouble. He got sent to nickel for strangling the neighbor's chickens. 21 chickens to be exact.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
This is an
they were
overkill.
out to get him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he'd been treated badly his whole life. It was not unheard of that he would lash out. But because he'd been beat so badly
Yeah.
previously, Nickel didn't seem like such a bad place to him.
No, it's like almost
It was
a
like
country
easier
club.
there.
Country club.
Yeah,
Given his previous life.
yeah. So, we jump back to Griff. It's his first time boxing, or his first term boxing.
Yeah.
He'd only gotten to nickel in February, and the boxing matches at the end of the year. Um, so, they describe him as being giant, broad-chested, and hunched like a brown bear.
Yeah.
His daddy, they say, was on a chain gang in Alabama for murdering his mother. So they think, he comes by his meanness
It's like
naturally.
hereditary
Yeah.
meanness.
Um,
And he was a bit of a terrorizer. He was kind of
yeah.
like made himself. He put himself in situations to he purposely positioned himself in ways to antagonize other weaker kids. Like he smelled fear in people, and so he made the people around him quite
Well,
uneasy.
and the boxing ring just gave him
Yeah, I gave him
a place to terrorize without having to hunt him down first.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
he loved boxing.
it was a license to do whatever he wanted. He was, I'm getting praised for being a violent person. Oh, good, great.
Um,
that's my mo.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So he's part of this team that's run by this guy named Max David. Um, Max David runs the boxing team for the black kids.
Yeah.
Um, and Griff is not graceful. He's not like one of those
No,
dancing
he's a
boxers.
brawler.
He's an, he's a brawler. He's just powerful and he can commit violence very well.
Yeah,
Um,
it's effective. It's effective.
yeah, the way the school works, boxing, the kids are only really around for a couple seasons of boxing. A lot of them come and go.
Mm-hmm.
They get
Mm-hmm.
out for a time, but then they end up back in there.
Yeah.
Um, but it's a place where they come and stay. So they're in dorms.
Yeah.
Um, and you know, the boxing feels like a way for them
They're
to be in
comeuppance.
control
They're comeuppance
a
in the
little bit.
world.
Yeah, they
Like
can get
they
justice through boxing.
yeah. Like they, I mean, they have the people that are there. Majority of them are just handed like a bad hand. Either like they come
Hmm.
from violence or they have any like parental abuse. I feel like everybody has an issue or escaping
Hmm.
an issue. So that's the commonality. Not like good
Yeah.
support system at home. Um,
No.
the institute is founded by a guy named Trevor Nickel, which is I guess the name, which is actually
No. No,
what.
it's not founded by him.
Oh, I mean,
Um,
he did the
yeah, it was founded by somebody else, but he came on as a director
director. Yes, I'm sorry, director of
of
the
of the Florida Industrial School for Boys, which had been open since 1899, and he came on as director in 1946. But he was such a large force in the school that it became known as the Nickel Academy.
yeah, yes. So he was like it has such an influence, and that he's not to shy away from the fact that he was also part of the Ku Klux Klan.
Yep.
So he in his way of he stood behind the school as a place for moral improvement,
Hmm.
and it was almost like it was like this he's cleansing the race, or I don't know. I feel like Colson Whitehead is like he tried to make it like this guy is obviously racist, and he's trying to say
Hmm.
like I'm doing right. I'm making sure that these boys are growing up in a way that they're useful to society, but that's implied that you don't think they're useful as they are.
Yeah. Well, and
So
we start to see the differences between the two sides of the school because there's this place, this utility building where the kids get beaten called the White House, but in the White House everybody gets beaten.
yeah,
But then there's a special place for the black kids to get beaten worse.
yeah. So this
Um
which plays
yeah,
a
so there's
role in the
not
story.
yeah, there we start to see the difference. Something else about Nickel that is not great is he maintained a general interest in fitness, which sounds fine, but that also meant that he really liked looking at people, boys in particular, that were in good form. And he used to hang around outside the showers
Yeah,
to monitor their progress.
yeah,
But it turns out it was kind of a place for him to pick out his dates.
yeah.
And
And
it
it, and
and
it
it went on from there to the next person who was in charge of things, and you know,
who was Dr.
it kind of has a
Campbell?
legacy now.
Yeah,
Yeah, Dr. Campbell. So it has a legacy now of this being
a
the place where,
dirty old men
yeah,
social club.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so this plays a part in it. So it's like I feel like because the school like this section of the school is with the like the minority um underprivileged boys, so like or somehow like it kind of reminds me of like the people that are human traffickers that that seek out like people who live on reservations, like Native Americans, because people are not looking for them. I feel like these, and then they have different laws between the reservations and they have, so it's easy for people to get lost. And I feel
Yeah.
like these boys, because they weren't looked after, knowing it made them prime targets for people like this to abuse them, to
Mm.
get their rocks off, and among other things. That's a part that gets explored more in his novel, The Nickel Boys, which I recommend. Um,
Mm.
so anyway, going back to the
Yeah,
story,
Scrapplejack says they're expendable.
yeah, expendable is
Um,
a good term.
yeah, so now we meet Elwood and Turner,
Yeah, this is
who
the
are
first
kind of our
characters, or well, first
yeah,
are narrators of the story.
they're who are telling us this story, or
Yeah.
who are guiding us through this story. So they're two boys who met in the infirmary
Mm-hmm.
because they both one of them, Turner, had swallowed soap powder to make himself sick so he wouldn't have to work, and Elwood was recovering from a White House beating. Um so and Elwood, it wasn't very fair actually that he got beaten because he was trying to stop a fight,
Yeah.
but the superintendent Spencer, who's the one running the school now, he just said, right, everyone involved to the White House,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
had them beaten.
Well, I mean, later,
Um,
I think it's okay to mention this, Shiny, like Elward and Nick. There's a difference between Elward and Turner. Elward, I think, is like the one that is not, of all the boys that are there. He's different.
mhm.
He's educated. He
Yeah,
initially
he's book smart. He's
he's very
not,
book smart.
yeah.
Actually, when he got in there because there was somebody, I guess, looked like somebody who stole a car or some kind of thing. Like
No,
it was
he
a
was
mix,
he was taking a ride from someone who did steal a
steal a
car.
car, and
He didn't have anything to do
he
with
didn't
it.
have
He just
anything. So, but
happened to be in the
he got
car.
thrown a nickel because of that. So, so like I think it's important just to mention that, because I feel like when you introduce two characters at once, it could, you're trying to figure out what personality traits go with whom.
Mhm.
Elwood is like the book smart, kind of this passive, like
He,
paying attention on the outskirts, like just doesn't
yeah,
really
he
belong
was in
there.
the
Bright
wrong
at the
place at the
wrong
wrong
time.
time and has
Turner,
ended up in
on the
this
other hand,
place.
Turner was somebody who was prone to being in there. Uh,
Yeah. Turner's one of those been in and out fellas.
yeah, he has a history of being in and out. But they strike a friendship, and I know there's a lot of commonalities between these two. I mean, and it seems like
Hmm.
Turner comes from he has a bad side, but it doesn't seem as bad as the other people there. So I mean,
Mm.
it's enough to have a strike a friendship with these two.
Well, and
Um,
maybe Elwood is a bit of a good example for him.
yeah, yeah.
I get the impression as well that, maybe Turner just has been dealt a bad hand, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
he's just trying to make it in the world, and he
And he
doesn't
gets
always
in,
make the best
he
decisions.
gets sent back. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
well, these two bond
But
together.
yeah, they bond. And Turner, is it Turner? Who Yeah, so Turner is hiding. he he has a job in the warehouse, and
Yes.
he
Yeah.
has found a way with a blanket and stuff like that. He's hidden himself in the warehouse to have time alone because
Yeah.
he's in a dormitory with all these boys. He doesn't often get time alone. So he's got a little setup so that he can hang out in this warehouse. Um uh and nobody paid attention to him because he was meant to be in there. So it's just him, a pillow, an army blanket, and a transistor radio. And he
Yep.
just gets time alone up there. But he's up there one day when Mr. Spencer brings Griffin.
So Mr.
And
Spencer again is like
the superintendent
the
of the school.
superintendent of the school, who has a liking to these boxing masters and stuff like that. Griff
Hmm.
is like the
The guy everyone's sure is gonna,
misanthropic individual that wants to
yeah.
beat everybody up, and is like the star boxer of 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 the Nickel Academy. So
Um, yeah, so Spencer's pulled him aside to have a private word with him. And
not realizing that he's in Turner's in the
but
rafters.
Turner's in there, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Turner doesn't like this from the start though, because anytime a white man asks you about yourself, he was about to fuck you over.
Yeah, that's what he says. He
So
even mentions that.
that's
Yeah. He's
yeah,
already getting bad
so
vibes from it all. Like,
yeah, he's already
why is this
unhappy.
white guy talking to this black kid? There has to be some horrible like reason for this. Like, this is not going to end well.
Yeah, 100%. So, Turner listens to this exchange and he is correct. Um, Griff is being asked to take a dive, but Griff doesn't understand that he's being asked to take a
Yeah.
dive. Because when you ask somebody to do a thing like this, you never come at it straight, usually. You kind of talk around it. And
Yeah.
that's what Spencer's trying to do.
And for those
He's like,
also sorry for those who are not
"Oh, that's okay."
understand boxing terminology, taking a dive and being like throwing the fight. Uh,
Yeah.
the boxer, this guy wants Griff to hit the mat to pretend that he's beat because obviously there's
Pretend
some
he's been knocked out.
yeah, pretend he's been knocked out. There's probably because there's money involved. People are betting on
Yeah.
it, and the people that are betting on it want to
Well,
win.
and I don't know a lot about boxing, but in boxing, it's possible for no one to be knocked out and somebody to still win. There's points in boxing. So
Yeah.
you could, it would be very hard if someone doesn't take a dive. He could win even if he gets beat up badly because maybe he scored more points in more rounds.
Yeah, exactly. No, you're
So,
correct.
so the only way to be for sure that Griff doesn't win is if he hits the mat and it's a KO.
So, and he's told explicitly to Griff is not the brightest kid, but he's
Yeah.
he's being told to do this.
Yeah, finally the superintendent is straightforward and says in the third round you must go down.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And
if they
if he
don't, if he doesn't, they'll take him out back. And that's where we find out there's someplace worse than the White House.
yeah, who knows? I think it's who knows of this place. T-
Turner, I think.
Not Elwood. I thought Elwood was, or I'm not sure, but we'll find out. But like one of the between Elwood and Turner, one of them knows that if this is like I feel like this place is like folklore throughout the
Yeah. No,
like
it's Turner that knows because Turner's been there before.
okay, so like
Um,
this is like a thing. Like there's a place to get beat, and there's another place where it's like you don't come back from.
yeah,
And
you don't end up in the hospital if you get taken to this
yeah,
place.
this is like you just disappear. And I'm sure that that news or this information is kind of like run through the institution like folklore, like don't do that, this might
Mm,
happen. But I don't
mm,
think many people have seen the place. But Turner knows of the place physically. Could show this.
yeah.
So we that kind of lends itself later in the story.
No. Well, we
But
get a description of Elwood at this point as well, because you were saying how he's more of a reader and stuff.
yeah,
He's he looks soft.
yeah,
He's a goody goody. He has a tendency to preach.
mm-hmm.
He wore glasses that, and it says that you wanted to grind underfoot like a butterfly. So this kid is he's like a white college boy. That's how he's described.
Yeah,
Um, and it's his education that's to blame for him being at Nickel because he was taking night classes at a local college and he was hitching to campus.
yeah.
So because he was hitchhiking, he got into this car and it turns out that it was stolen.
And then
Um,
the police officer just didn't.
just everyone goes.
Everyone goes.
Yeah.
You were involved in this too. So he went. He
Yeah.
got. It wasn't even that. He didn't have a lawyer to explain, or probably couldn't afford a lawyer.
No. Well, and he's not been convicted of a crime, but he has been sent to a reform school.
By
So
association. Yeah.
yeah. So and then, Elwood being Elwood when Turner tells him this, because Turner says he can only tell Elwood, that's his closest friend there. So when Elwood gets told about Griff having to take a dive, um, Elwood rightly so is like, well, people are going to be upset. We like all these boys are rooting for Griff to win,
Yeah, and he's being told by higher up to take a dive. So what's going to
to take
happen?
a dive. And Turner says, when Spencer says he's going to take you out back, you listen.
Yeah, yeah.
And Elwood asks, take him to the White House, because that's all Elwood knows about.
Mm-hmm. And
And Turner's like,
I
no, I'll
feel like
show
he's a little
you.
naive too, in ways
He
too. Like,
is, he is, because
yeah,
he's not a bad kid.
yeah,
This
no,
is his first time at Nickel. He hasn't really deserved to come there. You know, he's he's not aware of this. And Turner takes him. It's like 10 minutes out, away to the laundry. And then behind that is where they find this place. Um, and Elwood's talking away about the book that he's currently reading.
hmm which I was trying to. Were you trying
um,
to figure out what it was? It Pride and Prejudice?
yeah, I was like, wait, what book is this? The oldest daughter to keep their estate and title. What is it? Yeah, it was funny. And the thing about the handsome face. Yeah, I was trying to figure out what book it was.
Yeah.
Um, I'm really sorry if you can hear a whistle. Somebody gave the neighbor kid a whistle. It's been driving me mental all day, so I hope you can't hear that.
No.
Um,
I mean, it's that guy from your work.
yeah. So they go out past the laundry, past some dilapidated horse stables, and they come to this place where there's these two oak trees standing side by side with iron rings stabbed into the back or into the bark. And this is Outback.
Yeah.
And they only bring the black boys here and they horsewhip them, but they never come back.
Mm-hmm.
And Elwood gets mad about this. He's like, no white boys. Um, but yeah, they're like, no, the White House, they got integrated. This place is separate. They take you out back. They don't bring you to the hospital. They put you down as escaped. That's that boy.
Yeah.
So
And he's noticing
if
like
you is
the yeah, I'm sorry, but he's like
no, go
noticing
ahead.
he's noticing the physically what it looks like too. There's like
Hmm.
he said he looks at the rings and he's like, this is like there's no give. This is into the trunk of
No,
a tree, and like if you try to get out of it, you're gonna break your own arm.
yeah.
Um,
And Elwood rightly so says, well, what about their family? Don't they care? And Turner's like, nobody's got family here. But Elwood does. So Elwood again is different than everybody else.
exactly. This kind of shows
Um,
his privilege.
mm-hmm. Um, and this is where we find out that, Turner's been in at least twice because he's back again. Yeah, and they're, he's talking about Turner saw some college kids protesting in Tampa to open up the counter at Woolworths. Um, and it worked. The counter got integrated because this was, around Jim Crow time when stuff was still segregated.
Yeah.
So, he's seeing actual change in the world where they're integrating things, but it says you could change the law, but you couldn't change people and how they treated each other. And Nickel was racist as hell.
Yep.
He
I believe it.
he figures half the people that work there probably dress up like the Klan on the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but he blames Spencer for this. He thinks Turner thinks Spencer is the real evil there. That people are the real evil. Um, and it doesn't matter about the color of your skin. People are just evil.
Yeah. Yeah. To even like come up like to come up with something as heinous as that, like
Hmm.
another like that, you pretty much killing someone
Yeah,
off the
they are
books.
killing someone.
Yeah, illegally.
Um, so, betting on these, we go back into talking about this boxing match. Betting had been small time when Nickel was there, but now there are rich people coming in from 3 counties away coming to bet on these fights.
Mm.
The match is now a 2 night thing where they do like the finals on the first night and then or the semifinals on the first night and then the final match on the second night. Um, they've had boxing rings set up, 3 boxing rings set up for there to be constant training.
Yeah.
But now for the big match, there's only one in the center so that, everybody can focus on that. Um, there's all sorts of people in. Um, most of these people get seats because they're important people, but then all the boys are kind of on the bleachers in the background so that they
Mm-hmm.
can take part as well. Um, Director Hardy, who's I guess one of the directors of the school, he comes in, he brings his wife. She's very pretty. But they're not allowed to look at her. That's that's like immediately getting yourself taken to the White House if you look at his wife.
Mm.
Um, so first the white dormitories go, get their fights done. This guy Big Chat wins. He's the one who's going to go on to the final.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Turner makes a comment that he looks like Frankenstein, so he's a big boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, they um they talk about the fight a bit, about how it goes. Chet's kind of really powerful, and if anyone could take Griff, this
It'd
Chet
be
guy could.
yeah. They're both similar in stature.
Yeah.
Um.
Um, but the directors, the superintendent, they don't want to take a chance on that. The fact that maybe he could beat Griff just on his own. Um, Griff's fights with the boys that he's up against are real quick. There's not a lot for them to do in the wake of this big boy beating the crap out of him. Um, Everybody's, paying attention to this fight, really interested in it. It's got a good vibe around it. Everybody's really
Mm.
cheering. Um, Turner, though, he knows what he knows, right? So he's watching this thing with a kind of different eye.
Yeah. Yeah. He doesn't he like he compares it to almost like is that the same thing? Like he has like a it reminds him of something he in his neighborhood.
Yes. Someone find the lady. The
Yeah, which
game
is
Find
which
the
find
Lady,
a lady, which is
which
some kind of
is
probably like some dice game. That's something like with
I think
a
it.
street
No, I think
game.
it's the thing with the 3 cups.
Oh, okay, okay. I didn't know that was a name for that.
I think so, but it
any
is usually a street hustler doing it, and it's kind of impossible to win because there's a
yeah,
trick to it.
yeah.
Um,
But I think that he remembers a time in his neighborhood that there was a guy, it was a hustler playing that game, and it was rigged, but he liked to watch this guy do that because it was like he learned a lot, and the guy was the hustler was like, you have to. Well, I'm not sure if Turner was thought of this himself, but it seemed like he was
no, the
in
hustler told
oh,
Turner
hold him. Oh,
how
I
to
see.
beat it.
He felt that you have to turn. The hustler said you have to make it seem like they're going to win because
Hmm.
if they'll believe that and it'll distract them from being hustled. So like you have
Hmm.
to. It's almost like you're playing. Like I think Turner was also like infatuated with the fact that there's more to it than cheating somebody. You have. It's almost like you give the illusion that they're going to win, and that illusion
Hmm.
is what distracts them enough to believe the
To
lie,
be hustled,
be
yeah.
hustled. Yeah. So so he goes. He has this memory because he looks. He's watching this boxing match and he's watching all these people. Um, they like especially the black school is like going crazy. They want Griff to win and like, but he sees like
Hmm.
wow, these people who set up the dive are like playing into it too. Like they're keeping this hush hush. They're letting the build up happen naturally, I
Hmm.
mean he's even saying it looks like a legitimate fight.
Hmm. And
So
the boys are loving it because they've got hope, you
yeah,
know, the hope of winning,
yeah.
you know,
I
because
love yeah.
they all feel the win together when it happens, you know.
And I love that there's like he has like this very it has this societal vision that like look at like the world is trying to do like people are protesting and trying to increase the rights of African Americans and stuff like that. But it's all a big show. Like it's like
Mhm.
look how much he kind of he views society in that like we're just being taken like even in the face of when we something is dressed up as progress, it's really like a hustle to make it seem like it's progress, but it's really not. Or it's like it seems
Yeah.
like in this instance, like the boys from Nickel are like considered like they if they win, they become the kings for the day. But who wants to be a king for the day if
Mhm.
the rest of the time you're being
Well,
beaten
that's
up?
it.
So it's like
They were happy
they were happy
existing
with
for a few hours in the
yeah
free world, then it was back to nickel.
yeah. So it's like that's the hustle right there. Is
Yeah.
convinced is you're convincing the people that are being oppressed because you give them a glimmer of hope.
Yeah.
They're being disguised that they feel that they're somehow getting ahead of things or like I said progressing, but they're not. It's a hustle in itself. Give them a little
Yeah. So
light. Yeah,
Turner's seeing this. That's the thing. He
yeah,
sees all of them as suckers, not
yeah.
because this match is going to get thrown,
The smoke and
but
mirrors.
because they all you
I
had to
know.
say it, didn't you? Because they all think that they're getting something when they're not.
Yeah,
It's all
Exa-
just a show
just
to
like that
make them
game.
feel good for a minute. Yep,
Just like that.
exactly.
Just like the game on the street, but it's on a bigger scale.
So they yeah, the Griff is strutting around like a duke with a
Mm-hmm.
gang of younger boys behind him. Today he is the king of the world. Everybody loves him. Um, everybody's suddenly into boxing.
Mm-hmm.
The younger boys are like throwing fake punches around, It's just
It's a
they're
different. Yeah,
all
yeah,
so happy. Elwood is confused, because Griff is walking around like he's gonna win. He's like, "Do
yeah,
you think he forgot?" Um, and Turner's like, "Nah. If you got all this respect, you just enjoy it. Regardless of the
yeah.
outcome of the fight. Right
He's gonna eat it. He's
now,
gonna eat it up.
he's
Is
gonna eat it up
yeah,
exactly." Um, he says, "When's the next time the fools who hate and fear you are gonna treat you like Harry Belafonte?"
yep, yep, yep. That's a little reference there.
So yeah, so now it's the night, big fight. There's popcorn, which
Yeah.
kind of was appealing to many people. um, and Turner and Elwood are sitting there, and they get joined by I'm gonna assume his name is Jaime, but uh, it's this boy who nobody knows where to put him. He first got put in with the white kids, and then he was
Yeah. He's
outside
mulatto.
working, and
So
he
dark.
well his mother's Mexican. His mother's Mexican.
Oh, I see.
So he got so dark in the sun that then they put him in with the black boys. So he's just he could go either side depending. Um and so he just goes back and forth between the two sides. He doesn't really fit any place. And he's like he thinks he wins either way. Whichever side he gets put on, he wins either way. So he's there sitting with them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, Turner, again, he's watching this from a different point of view. Um, and, watches the fight, and Griff is winning. He's going for it. Um, he he kind of takes the first two rounds.
Yeah. And even
Um,
Elwood is like, he don't look like he's gonna lose. This
yeah.
guy is like laying into this other guy,
But
the white kid.
but Turner's like, well, he's making it look good. Like
Yeah.
it's no fun if he looks like he's going to lose all the way through. He's
Yeah.
got to look like he's
And
going
just
to win and
and
then
also
lose.
he's also this like reference to that whole street hustle thing that he was talking about before.
Mhm.
Make the crowd seem like that it's not fixed. Make them wonder. Give them that sense of intrigue. And it's like this, but again, I do feel like is not Elwood, but Turner is a little worried because this kid is not like the brightest one either. Like I'm sure
No.
part of him's like, I hope he knows what to do here.
Well, and
Um,
Elwood now knows what the consequences are.
yeah. So which is like, I feel like
Bef-
they're the only ones in attendance who know the stakes are higher. Like they're the
yeah.
only ones that know that hey, if this kid better follow through because he's gonna get to the other out back, which is a
And Elwood's not enjoying this.
yeah. Well, it's
He
very
doesn't. Well, especially because he thinks, you know, he's worried about Griff now because if Griff is gonna win, then he knows what's to come, and he's worried about that. Elwood is someone who doesn't come from a place that deals with this kind of thing all the time,
yes.
so it's
This is
really
eye opening.
worrying to him. Um, and Turner is kind of getting pulled into the whole thing. He knows he's a mark, and he's okay with it for a time. He's just enjoying it. Um, Griff is not looking like he's going to go down.
Mm-hmm.
He's he's fighting just like he did in the other two rounds. And Turner looks over at Elwood, and he's got this look of horror on his face.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the two of them know Griff's not going to go down. He's going to fight like he wants to win.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Um, and when the bell sounds, the two boys are standing there in the ring,
Both
like
battered, both bloody and battered.
both battered, both bloodied, holding each other up. But it described it like a human teepee. Um, the ref separates them, and now it's down to the decision of points.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Elwood's like, well, maybe they called it off. Elwood doesn't want to think about where this is going to end.
Yeah.
Um, but Spencer's reaction to it shows that that's not the case.
Mm.
He is the only person still sitting. Everyone else, jumps up at the end of the fight to cheer. He's scowling,
Oh
and one of
boy.
the fat cats turns around, red-faced, and grabs his arm. So clearly one of the people who thought they were going to win money did not, and
Yeah.
is upset about it. Um, Griff, on the other hand, does not look to be enjoying his win.
No, he's.
And
I
Turner
think
hears him.
he reads the body language a little bit.
Yeah, Turner sees this and hears him say, "I thought it was the second round. I thought it was the second round." So
Mm-hmm.
Griff is upset. Griff knows what this means. He did intend to take the dive,
But he
and
couldn't.
he just can't count.
Yeah, that's so sad. That's really
It's
sad.
so sad. They
Um.
talked about Griff not being real smart,
Yeah.
and you know, I don't think before I got to this part of the story I understood how little like book smarts this kid has.
Yeah. It's like almost like an intellectual disability.
Yeah,
Uh,
the
so
fact that he just didn't know. He was intending to do what he was told. And there's Turner thinks maybe he just got hit in the head too hard, so he lost track. But Griff has never been good at arithmetic, so
Yeah, awesome. Well, it says like that night the white men took him out back to those two iron rings. That remember the outback with those two rings attached to the base of two trees. And he never returned.
yeah.
People thought that just, you know, it's like there's like almost like a little bit of like a folklore about him. They thought that he was going to take a dive, or he was too proud to take a dive. They didn't really know that
Mm-hmm.
he got like. I mean, it went down that he was, like I said, proud. Didn't want to, was in the face of like the administration. He didn't want to do what they want, but in reality, he just didn't count, which is sad. Which really, it's
Yeah.
really
Very sad.
unfortunate. He never came back. They said that maybe he was ran away. That he's so strong that he was able to to kind of to escape. But
Yeah.
50
But they
years
didn't
later,
even try to find him, is the
it
thing.
was yeah, I didn't
There
try
was
that.
no alarm. They didn't send out the dogs. So that's always been a story that was just told, you
Yeah,
know?
and then 50, and the story jumps 50, like the denouement. 50 years later, they found a forensic examiner found the body.
Mm-hmm.
And they said that there was fractures in his wrists and speculated that he had been restrained before he died, in addition to the other violence attested by the broken bones. So he was beaten and left to dead. Um,
Yeah.
and then most of the people who can corroborate that story are dead. But
But those rings are still in
the
those
rings are still
trees.
there. Um, and it says, I love that very haunting last part of the line. Rusty deep in the heartwood, testifying to anyone who cares to listen. So it's like almost like the
Yeah.
rings are also. It's like the rings don't have an advocate. Like the kids didn't have an advocate, the rings didn't have an advocate either. They're just
Yeah.
rings to anybody who happens to walk over there and find them. I like that. There's like some humanization, personification on the rings themselves being like
Mm-hmm.
voiceless, and I feel like these kids are voiceless. Like if a white kid was, you know, didn't show up the next day to the reformatory or whatever, like maybe the police
Mm-hmm.
would get involved, but nobody cares about these kids.
No.
So like that's what happens, and this is like part like for those who want to know more about this. This is the true. This is the factual stuff that happened in the story. I believe that the basis
Well,
of
the not the story, but the place
the place. Yeah,
is
yeah.
based on a real place
But there were
where
they did find uh
yes, where there was actual beatings and
well they did
abusive.
no, but they did find uh
Oh, a body.
bodies. Yeah, bodies. They
Yeah,
bodies, more than one.
bodies.
There.
Well, yeah, if
So
they were doing that to kids all the time,
yeah,
it would have
so
been.
this is like I said in Tampa, I believe. So this is the north. This is actually it still exists, but I mean obviously it's shut down, but the place is still there, and that's what if you're interested in this, this is what the Colson Whitehead's book, The Nickel Boys, is about. But you could look at this maybe as a chapter within that. But yeah, it's horrible. There was also like that what in Nickel Boys, it expands on some of the practices that these people, prominent people within the town, they would. I know that because these boys were African American and in this kind of like this detention center, it started becoming like they were being used by the elite to do things. I
Mm.
think people like the superintendent, if he wanted to get his house cleaned or painted, he would take the boys to do the stuff, which is like okay, it's not slavery, but this is in the 90s was happening, so it's like
Yeah,
what were the ethical things about this? Suddenly, I mean, not also probably for sexual things too, but most notably for like just to do things like let me
yeah,
take the boys some Mr. Jameson from the CEO of the bank wants to use the boys to pick up the yard or to plow his estate or to do this, and then next week the superintendent of this middle school wants to use the boys to move the house or move furniture.
Mhm.
So it was like these because and then this is all for free. They're not paying them or anything. So
Yeah.
it becomes like it's like slavery post Civil War.
Yeah.
Whereas
Well,
like
which is what the whole of the penal system is in America.
yeah, but this was like I felt like more
Um,
deliberate. Like they were nobody was looking out for these boys.
no.
And so they were being kind of like volleyed around through the people the prominent people in the town to do things, which is just really unethical.
So the
And
school,
in addition to the horrible like the beatings and the deaths.
yeah. The school was in Marianna, Florida, which is in the Panhandle.
Hmm.
It's in between Tallahassee and Destin, north of Panama City Beach. Uh, the school had something called the White House, and it is still preserved there. So you could go to Marianna, Florida, and see the White House and see a statue in honor of the boys.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's a statue of like four boys. So yeah,
This
it
is
it
true. This
it
is
is there. You could go see it.
horrible. Yeah, Scrapple Jack.
Um,
Socially accepted real life horror. Exactly. Also, there was like, it was investigated. This school was in operation. How in Shiny? Well, how when did it
let's
shut down?
see. So yeah, there was at the edge of campus. There's an area called Boot Hill. White and black boys were buried there starting in the 1950s, and no markers were placed until the 80s. In 2009, it was still active, and it failed an inspection. And
And that
that's
opened the
when
lid.
they prompted investigations. So it started the process. In 2012, the state of Florida granted permission for a forensic anthropology survey led by the University of South Florida. And she was to determine how many bodies were buried there. Uh,
2009, people.
yeah. Well, and it was
This is recent.
2012 when they started digging them up.
Yeah,
They recovered 55 bodies, 24 more than the state estimated in its report.
insane,
Um,
insane.
yeah, in 2017, survivors of Dozier received a formal apology from the
A
Florida House and Senate.
formal apology.
Yeah, a lot of good that does. Um, in 2024, the Florida legislature unanimously passed a $20 million program for survivors to get damages.
Thank you.
But one of the kids is like, I'm 77 years old. Like, this has lived with me daily for my whole life. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
what do you
A little,
want?
a little too late. A little too late.
Yeah. So this just, yeah, that place was open far too long.
Yeah,
Far too long.
for having that kind of stuff. So, if anybody
And they were
feels,
supposed to be looked after.
yeah, and like I said, it doesn't go into the whole like the slave the trade the slavery type modern day slavery element to like of the people in town using them. Oh,
Hmm.
they're these black boys are trouble anyway. So let me just have them wash my car on the weekends, and fix my weed my garden.
Hmm.
It's horrible. It really is.
Yeah.
But for those who have more interest in this, I'm sure there's some nonfiction books about this place, but also
Yeah, yeah,
um
there's like NPR stuff on the web
mhm.
as well,
Yeah, maybe we'll post it.
various.
Maybe we'll post it in the Discord, some links here and there, if you have anything. But if you want a nice a fictionalized story to go about like that are based on these true events, I would recommend Nickel Boys by Colson Whitehead, and
Yeah.
it'll be a nice companion piece to this story. If you find yourself going down a rabbit hole, it's not that long either. It's a pretty quick story. It's almost like a novella sized
Well,
novel.
if the writing's the same, which I'm sure it will be, this was our long, but I think I read it
Faster than
like
the
super
E.B. White, yeah,
fast.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was, and plus, like there was a lot. Like both stories had this anticipation, but especially this one, you had this boxing match. You didn't know how it was going to go. You're reading it, trying to figure out what's the court. What's going to be the outcome.
It says it also inspired an Oscar nominated film.
Mm. Okay, well,
I guess because maybe The Nickel Boys was made into a film. Yeah,
it
The Nickel Boys
was.
was made into a
Oh,
film.
okay,
Yeah, and yeah, so that's
cool.
why.
That's why. That's very very cinematic. That's just reading
Hmm.
about this how crazy, but plus the fact that it stayed open that long. But I want to thank
Yeah,
everyone for hanging out, being around for these stories, making an essay jump. Thank you, Shiny, for
yeah.
making turning this essay into. It was already compelling, but sometimes this essays would be hard to talk about. But I think we did a good
Oh
job.
well, it was a good one. It was
Yeah.
a good one. Yeah, and I'm sorry, guys, if it felt like we moved a bit quick, but Itchy has someplace to be.
Yes, yes, yes. But we do appreciate Tony. Thanks for being here. Thanks for everybody else, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.